but I grabbed his top leg because that's what was closest. Had the cross collar grip, and he starts walking his hips away, and I'm like, I am fighting this dude.
Like 300.
Bro, I'm like, by the end of it, my grips are like taxed. I was like, ah. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host, Travis and John. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. This is our first episode where it's been just us.
Yeah, it's been a while, for sure.
Yeah. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, I think we need to find a white belt to interview because we haven't done a white belt in a while.
A nice fresh one.
Yeah, nice fresh white belt. And then 2, we haven't done a solo episode in a while. We've been killing it lately with other people, but we haven't sat down by ourselves in quite some time.
And I feel like we've had a lot that's been going on, just classes, everything.
Yeah, I agree, especially because COVID restrictions starting to lift up, especially in our county, and which is really nice because our classes lately have been killing it. It's been crushing it, and good techniques, and we've had a lot of people to talk to, but we haven't caught up with each other on everything that's been going on, man.
That's life, man. You're all over the place.
I'm not all over the place.
No, like we are. We're just busy
okay.
people.
I was like, I'm literally at home like 90% of the time trying to do something at home.
I'm all over the place. You know, just had a good vacation. You know.
How was that?
It was good, man. Scottsdale, Arizona. Good shout out to them. It was interesting. I think that's the third different state I've been in since the whole pandemic began. So it was good, comparing Washington to California, and now I can compare it to Arizona.
Yeah. What was Arizona like?
Well, no mask mandate there, which was nice. I like the freedom of choice. They pretty much leave it up to the businesses. So, if they want you to wear a mask to come in, then wear a mask. If you want to go in that store, if some don't require it, then don't worry about it.
That's what we were talking about before this, right? And you and I feel kind of like the same way, where if people don't want to wear masks, I think we're at the point now where then they're not going to wear a mask. Right. And if a business says you have to have a mask to come in here and you don't put a mask on and they don't let you in, then you can't go.
Yeah, right.
It's personal responsibility. Like, what is the big deal?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel we're at the point now where things are starting to ease up and it's nice. And like a lot of states have done, no mandate on mask, right? And I don't know, I haven't heard anything from Texas since they lifted their mask mandate. Apparently the whole state died. But
right. The other interesting thing, man, is I was waking up in the morning there. I like to get up before the family. It's like that good chill time, drink a couple cups of coffee, and I'd watch the local news there. And I was kind of telling you about it earlier, but apparently some counties in Arizona went ahead and started school up about 3 weeks after the shutdown. And the rest started, they opened up the entire state by October. So it looks like one of the problems they're having is a lot of the kids that stayed home during the school shutdown, it worked out better for the families and the students liked it better. So the issue now is they're not going back willingly.
Yeah.
So now the schools have to give up large amounts of funding that they originally were funded. And that's the big hiccup there now.
Yeah, I know that. I think it's funny how if people think that everything's going to go back to normal after everything now. Like, the only thing I see that with the school is with Charles. I feel like he doesn't grasp it as good. You know what I mean? And having a 12-year-old, he doesn't have the full responsibility yet of making sure his stuff is done. So there's just a little bit of hiccups with that too. But other than that, like it's super easy to have him just stay home and do his classwork, and then I come home like, yo, what's up with your classwork? He's like, oh, it's all done. I was like, do you need help with anything? He's like, no, I'm good. And that's the end of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, and does he get the full experience of like being in school, making friends and stuff like that? No, he doesn't. But it's, it is what it is. We've been doing it for over a year now. So
I was curious too, man. I'm like, so are bullies now cyber bullies that were bullies in school? They're like, man, I got to do it online now. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Is like people are, I'm like messing with my mic a whole bunch trying to get it. Like, there we go. Getting it just right. We just got these new microphone stands, and so I'm trying to figure out how to put it directly in my face without cutting my face off.
Yeah, I could have sworn you told me don't put it directly in your face.
I know. It's like, and now it's like in my face. But no, it's like, yeah, cyberbullying and whatnot. But Charles doesn't, Charles does jujitsu, so I don't think he really has to worry too much about bullies when he goes back to school. Because if someone checks him, Charles will be like,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But I hope I want him to have that middle school experience of making friends, having fun, going to friend's house.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what I want.
Sneaking out with your buddies.
Yeah, doing illegal stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, living the American childhood dream.
Yeah, and now he can't do that because he just sits at home all day with the family, which isn't a bad thing.
Not like Chicago where you're carjacking people and killing them. They're teenagers.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Right.
Did you see that?
And Uber Eats, and they're like, "Hey, I want my food for free." Reminds me of in Japan when the sailors killed the cab driver because they didn't want to pay for the cab fare. And I was like, oh man, this world is so crazy right now.
Insane.
But, I don't know. Jiu-Jitsu's been fun.
It has been.
Jiu-Jitsu's been real fun.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. What have you been liking about it lately, John?
I'll tell you what. I guess for me, my favorite thing is keeping that same concept for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like just drilling that and doing that and building on it for 2 weeks solid really helps me remember it, for one. And, I'm much more exhausted leaving the classes lately.
Yeah, they're an hour and a half long now, so.
What I've noticed is I don't get my rolls in after class now because it gets out later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I just don't have the want to stay later.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. Is what was it? It was like 2 weeks ago. I think it was a Thursday, and professor ended the class a little bit early so people could roll. But I was like, 7 o'clock, I can get out of here even earlier tonight. I'm just gonna skip the rolls. Like, I was like, I gotta go. I got a baby at home. The wife's already been chilling with him for long enough. I was like, I gotta head out. But it's definitely at the end of class. I'm like, man, that was a good class. Like, my butt is tired because we drill so much.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like we're getting the rolls in before the end of class, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Especially because we do a lot of King of the Hill and then cycling through. Like when we were doing, what was it? I think it was just guard passing. And, Professor had us all lined up in a circle. Well, not lined up. had us in a circle. And higher ranking belts were on the bottom, and then the lower ranking belts just cycled through each higher ranking person. And it was like 2-3 minutes to pass their guard or submit or whatever, submit or sweep. And it was just round robin. And it was a good 20-30 minutes of that. And it felt like 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
But I was exhausted after that. But we've been doing a lot of that stuff lately, a lot of positional sparring in class, so people can't, miss out on it and stuff like that, which is good. I rather do it in class than after class. You know what I mean? Because one, it's fresher in my head, and then two, I'm forced to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when he says, "Hey, you're gonna start in turtle, and the only way you can get out of turtle, or you can't get out of turtle, but the other person's gonna try to break your turtle, and then use only the techniques you have." And we've done it before, but I feel like the last half hour of our class now, because it's an hour and a half long class now, the last hour or half hour of our class is simply positional sparring, usually, so it's been good. I've been getting crushed, which is always nice. I always like getting crushed. And everyone else is just getting so much better.
Oh, everyone's decent for the most part now.
Yeah, it's like crazy, man. Like there's just straight killers everywhere. You got to protect your neck. It's just insane. Which is good, because if the baseline of the class gets better, right? If the average is better, that means everyone's just going to keep going up and up and up. So the higher the average, right, the better everyone else. We both have our phones not on silent right now, bro.
Sorry.
Come on, man. What are you doing, John? Go ahead and just silent.
Ordering the TV.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's another thing we'll talk about real quick. Jonathan is ordering a TV for the podcast room. Our beautiful podcast room is looking good. It's getting there. But we're going to put it right on the back wall that you guys can't see where the camera is. And we're going to do some live fight nights, UFC events, Submission Underground.
Yeah.
We have the UFC fight passes. So what probably will happen is I'm going to get the setup to where we can live stream it. We'll have the TV playing in the background. If you guys want to watch it with us on our YouTube channel, we'll sit here and watch it and do the podcast at the same time. And kill two birds with one stone, and we'll be able to interact with people if you want to come in and chat with us and whatnot. But that's the ultimate goal. We're almost there. The only thing we're missing now is just the TV, but we have everything, and I've done it before in my previous life of trying to be a Twitch streamer, so I know how to do everything.
I've never even heard of Twitch streamer, so
you don't know what a Twitch streamer is?
Yeah, he just said it. I've heard it.
Boomers.
What can I say?
But that's probably the next big thing that we're coming in. And also, I want to start making short form YouTube content for the channel too. So us just like one thing I think we could start off with is, this is just kind of brainstorming out loud on the podcast. Let me know what you guys think about this. Hit us up in the comments on the YouTube video or DM us on social media or whatever. But I was thinking of still releasing the podcast on YouTube, the full length, but kind of trying to put more energy into kind of like highlights, kind of like how Joe Rogan has the JRE clips on YouTube, where it's just, 3-4 minute long videos of just a highlight from the episode. And I was thinking about putting more energy into doing something like that. What do you think?
I think that sounds great.
Yeah. Because then people watch, 15, 20 minutes of our podcast per our analytics on YouTube. They watch like 15, 20 minutes is the average time, which is good. That's actually really good for a YouTube video. But I think if we can get like 2-3 minute videos of us just BSing or highlights of what we talk about in YouTube, I feel like that'll do more exposure for us, because people like short form content nowadays. People's attention spans are so short. It's like,
well, like all my friends, I'm like, hey man, you listen to podcasts or anything like that? They're like, no. I was like, oh, let me see your phone. Especially if they got the iPhone. I'll go straight to the podcast, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go put ours on their phone. Like, listen to these. And then I'm like, Joe Rogan? You listen to Joe Rogan? And they're like, no. And then I'm like, Joe Rogan, Tom O'Neill, episode 1479.
Yeah.
Say, okay, let's run. I go get all my favorites and I just put it on their phones. And I'm like, all right, just start listening.
Yeah, that's great, man. I was at work the other day and I was switching positions with a guy that actually went over to John's project from my project, and I took his job. But he was talking about how he has a smartwatch and he has Spotify on his smartwatch. And John, the first thing he said was, oh, do you listen to podcasts? He's like, let's listen to my podcast on your watch. And then you guys were listening to it on his watch.
Yep.
That's pretty funny. Did they enjoy it?
Yeah, man, I got to get it out there. Like,
hey,
listen to this.
Bro, I wear my elbows tight sweater wherever we go, which we're in the process right now, too, of finding good quality sweaters so we can start doing merch. So I think what we're going to do for our merch, until we can substantially turn a profit on whatever we're doing, I think what we're going to do is limited or pre-order only for our merch.
Yeah, I think pre-order is the way to go.
Yeah, so we'll probably do a sweater like this. If you guys haven't seen it on our social media, it's super simple. This one's much nicer than this one. This one was okay.
This one's got memories though.
Yeah, this is memories all alone in the But we're not going to do our names, and we're not going to do a logo like that on the front. If you guys haven't seen it, it's all over our social media too. I know it's a podcast, and people are like, "What does this look like?" But we'll post it down below.
Speaking of, we should talk about what Packhouse were you just on?
Oh, I was on the Forever White Belt podcast.
Yeah, I listened to it. That was actually really good.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning of that episode, it was really weird to get interviewed. You know what I mean?
It sounded fluid to me. No problem.
Well, I appreciate that. I tried my really. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like stuttering a lot today. Probably the coffee's kicking in, but that's our beverage of the day. We have coffee, by the way. Coffee.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah. Oh, you already finished yours?
I don't play around, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go. Everybody likes that
Everyone's
sound.
like, that's a headphone warning. But before I even started it, I walked over to Lordale. And I was like, babe, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am so nervous right now for doing this podcast. And she's like, why are you nervous? You do podcasts with everyone else. I said, yeah, but I've never been interviewed.
Yeah,
like,
what if they ask me a question? I get a blank.
Yeah, right. It's true though, because he's gonna ask you on it too.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that I was worried about is sounding like a D-bag, man. Like, but he's asking my opinion on something, right? So I'm going to give him my opinion.
Yeah, you can't be wrong, right? It's just your opinion.
Yeah, it's just my opinion. It's not like I was sending out techniques saying this is the proper way to do this, or trying to act like I'm a black belt and whatever. It's just my opinion from my time in my journey in jiu-jitsu. But it was so weird. It really was, man. I thought once it started going, then things started flowing. It became more natural. It was a whole lot of fun. But leading up to that, man, it was I was a nervous wreck.
I wish it was longer. It seemed like it went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it was an hour. Well, the original, the full length, I have it recorded on my computer, is about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. And Adolfo, you're a amazing editor because he knocked it down to 1 hour, and his podcasts are always about 1 hour, and he edited out a lot of dead space. So if you guys listen to it, there's a lot of, it's like the cadence in the episode is very quick because that's the way he edits. And I loved it because I was like, man, maybe we'll start doing our podcast like this because I feel like I say the same things over and over again. And that's one thing I was worried about too, is repeating myself a lot. And I felt like I repeated myself a little bit in that episode, but it was good, man.
Yeah. I thought it was great. It was fluid. It was like, nice.
Yeah. So just giving you a heads up when it happens to you. And if you guys want us on another podcast, by all means, let us know. I'm always down to do someone else's podcast. That was a great experience, and I definitely want to do it again. I'm not gonna lie though.
Maybe that's how people feel when they come on ours. They're nervous like that.
Oh,
and we're like, "What are you nervous about? It's just podcast. Come on, you got
yeah,
this."
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, now that's the first thing I said. Is now I know why people get nervous when they do a podcast. It's a very nerve-wracking thing talking to someone about something that you enjoy, even though you'd love it. It's still nerve-wracking, And they get he was getting in the weeds of a lot of things. I was like, man, I don't know what to say.
Well, you pulled it off.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. If you guys haven't listened to it, represent what? If you guys haven't listened to it, it's the Forever White Belt podcast. He's an amazing person, great show. He has on a lot of high level guys, and his show, like I said, is just great. From day one, he doesn't do episodes like we do where it's just us. It's all interviews. So he doesn't release content like every week or something like that because he does a lot of editing, full-time job and everything like that too. But when his stuff comes out, it is high quality. You guys definitely need to listen. And like I said on his show, when I released it on our episode or our podcast, I don't listen to a lot of jiu-jitsu podcasts just because I don't know. It's my mind isn't hungry for jiu-jitsu right now. It's hungry for making this podcast better. So when I do listen to Jiu-Jitsu podcast, his is like number one that I listen to. If you go to my Spotify, his is like always pops up like new episode. Have you listened to any other ones?
Yeah, and I listen to a ton of podcasts. Like I said, my library's full.
Really?
Yep. I just cycle through them, and now that I've learned that you can listen to the audiobooks on your iWatch, that's my big thing. I just listened to the Donna Diaries.
How was that?
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. I think I recommended to someone else to go listen to as well. I think I told you, but it's only like $5,
And it's on Audible, or
I don't know if it's on Audible. I get it through Apple, so.
Okay.
They're Apple books, audiobooks.
Oh, okay. So what is it? Is it like a short form audio like podcast, or is it like an actual book just in chapters? Or
no, it's just somebody narrating the book. So they're just
okay. So it's his book, but it's okay. So it's an audio book. Okay, gotcha.
But it was really good. Like they were talking about like hand fighting and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, like imagine you got like two aliens that are hand fighting and they have an eye in their forehead and you want to touch it, and every time you touch it they shut down. It's like think that's like the human, like the neck. Everybody's attacking your neck. Don't let them touch your neck. Don't let them get to your neck. And it's just going through just a bunch of stuff he's talking about, and like how he trains people and trains them out of the basement and everything. It was really good. He talks about some guy from another country that worked at one of the big colleges in New York, and his job was to just run with people. So rich people, he'd be like their running partner.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think it was won an Olympic gold medal, whatever. The guy was like seriously fit, and he's talking about that. And he's like, this guy came in and like, man, just what an athlete. And they're like, he wanted to learn some jiu-jitsu, and they go into it. And so like they're like a minute into it, and the guy starts shaking uncontrollably, and he was shaking so hard that he thought he ripped his quad muscles, like just tore.
Holy
him.
crap!
Just that's how. Like, and then he was done. They had to stop, and he was like, "That was it.
That's crazy."
I was like, "Man, it's good stuff in that book. I highly recommend."
And what was it, the Donna Diaries?
Yep.
What other content have you been consuming lately? Have you been heavy into jiu-jitsu content lately? You just finished a book, didn't you? A jiu-jitsu book.
Yeah, that book's interesting. I'm still reading it, honestly. I had a tough time starting it, but now it's like in this really good part, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's talking about
what's the name of the book?
opening Closed-Gaurd or
Yeah,
opening
by Robert
guard.
Drysdale.
Yeah, and a lot of the people, I haven't heard about them. When I got into jiu-jitsu, it's not like I was watching UFC fights or anything like that. It was just working out with the CrossFit side. But this guy's talking about the guy that runs the IBJF. What's his name?
IBJF.
Yeah, in the Gracie Barra schools.
Baja.
Yeah. So they talk about a lot about him.
Yeah.
Well, it's new to me when I read the book, and just like how he's trying to make it worldwide, and talks about growing up with Helio and all those guys and his uncles, and I'm like, now it's like really interesting.
Robert Drysdale is talking about this, or is it an interview of someone that
they're interviewing the guy that runs it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he talks about like, man, they'd grow up and it was like a compound, like 20 kids, all the same age.
Yep.
And they were on strict diets. They had to work out, so many times a day. They couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And I was like, man, sound like a little boot camp.
Yeah, I was watching I think it was Flo Grappling has a documentary where they followed, I'm pretty sure it was Andre Galvo down to Brazil, and they have a house where they have a team of jiu-jitsu practitioners that are like their international team or like their competitive team. They all live together. They all train together. They have mats downstairs. They have like a nutritionist, and same thing. They all live down in Brazil, train in Brazil, and he pays them, and they go to school and they train.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Well, like, and then I'm reading a part in there, where I'm at right now is like the triangle. Everybody knows the triangle, right?
Right.
And it's like they're talking about, well, they didn't actually do that till like purple belt. And then I swear, I'm like reading it in this book, and it's talking about it was part of the Japanese jiu-jitsu. Like that's the first time they really saw it. And I guess they were talking about people started going to Brazil to like relearn jiu-jitsu, and then they'd bring it back to Japan. It's just really interesting where I'm at right now.
How long is the book?
I want to say it looked like it's around 400 pages.
You want to do a book review when you're done?
I mean, I can. It's fine with me.
But if you guys want the book, I'll put a link in the description of the podcast and the YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you're listening to. If you guys want to pick it up, click the link. It'll be an affiliate link for us. So, but John just wrote a blog post that we're about to come out with too. What was your blog post about, John?
Just like the online training, when we're searching places to go, like, sometimes I'd be in class and I wouldn't really understand the move, but I don't want to stop the class, so it's like, where can I go look that up? And just all the different training aids I've used, and I know you use some of them since we started jiu-jitsu. So I just talk about them briefly, which ones I liked and which ones were my favorite. Yeah,
that'll probably come out. I'll probably release that tonight. Today's Easter Sunday, so you guys won't hear this. It'll be out by the time you guys listen to this podcast, but I'll probably release that tonight so John can put out there what he's been using and whatnot. So go look at our website. Another thing we've been trying to do a lot lately is just get that website going, doing more blogs, more long form content, written content on there. I wrote a blog on there about the best gi to use when first starting jiu-jitsu. And
when are you going to wear that new gi?
Oh, the control industry.
Yeah. What are you waiting on?
I gotta lose 20 more pounds.
Yeah.
Lordell said I can't wear that. Oh, and I talk about that gi actually in the blog post. The Journeyman 2. This gi is beautiful, man. I can't wait to wear it. But Lordell, the stipulation was I can wear it after I get back down to 185. I'm almost there.
Well, I wanted to mention, I saw some tournaments are opening back up.
Ooh.
Not that I'm interested in doing these specific ones, but maybe we can go watch them. They're in Spokane.
Oh.
Yeah, the Revolution's not putting out anything yet about when they're opening up, but some did open up in Spokane.
Yo, I'm down to drive to Spokane. It's like, what, 6-7 hour drive?
About 5. Yeah.
I drove to Spokane one time for work and then flew back. I flew to Spokane for a certification for my job, my old job, and then I flew back. It was like a 2-day thing, and I was like, oh man, Spokane's kind of nice, but it's kind of far.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm down. We could drive down there and make it like a weekend thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like dates when they were coming up?
Yeah, I want to say it was 2 months from now. I don't remember off the top of my head. It was a good little bit away.
Nice.
It was like the first ones opening back up in the state.
Yeah. Well, what's your plans on goals for this week in jiu-jitsu, bro?
I don't really have any goals. The way the training goes now, I don't know, it just seems easier. It's just more fluid. I enjoy having Olivia in the classes with me now. That's fun. I get to choke her out, and it's all legal. It's all like that.
Yeah, because she just turned 13.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, growing up so fast,
I
man.
think she just turned 14.
14. That's right. She just turned 14. What's funny is I was looking back at the Facebook page for the jiu-jitsu class, and it's crazy to think it's only been 3 years, coming up on 4 years. No, coming up on 3 years that we've started jiu-jitsu, and just the skill everyone has from these last couple of years, and then the kids are where you actually see the biggest difference because like they're physically changed so much, like Riley, Olivia, Drew, Noah, all those kids, they've all changed so much physically. You're like, holy crap, I can't believe how small they were when we first started. But the nice thing though is if Olivia sticks with it, man, she's gonna be a killer.
Yeah, she's tall too, so she's kind of built for it.
Yeah, she got long limbs and everything like that. So if she can harness that inner tier.
Yeah, if she can just get angry. We'll see.
Get off the TikTok and start.
yeah. Were you in the class when Shaw was talking? Let me see your aggressive face, your crazy face.
Oh yeah.
Man.
That was funny because he was trying to get her
war face.
Yeah. He was like, he was trying to get her to be more aggressive because that's what he was like trying to in the middle of class, like a philosophy he was like talking about was don't stop moving and always be aggressive. Like you should always be pushing the pace, always whatever. And the good analogy used is like. And when he was, I don't know if he said he was a bouncer, but in a situation, he had a drunk guy kind of like checking him or whatever. He said, people tell you to like, oh, stay away, take, create space. And he's like, no, that's not how I do it. I go up to the person, I get right up on him and I put my arm around him. Hey, we're good, buddy, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, he's like, because I want to control the distance. And I was like, well, that's a good way to look about it. He's like, but you got to be aggressive. And so Olivia was in the class, and he's like, "Show me your wire. Like, let me hear your war cry." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yell." He's He's like, "No, for real. Let me hear it." And she's like,
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't scared anybody. That's for sure.
I mean, we all got a good laugh out of it. That was really funny. But yeah, no, classes have been crushing it lately. I went to open mat yesterday on Saturday, and I was just telling John this before the podcast, but I rolled with one of our good friends, Thor, and he's probably 6'3".
Easily
6'3", 240, maybe
260.
I'm not going to call him 260 because I don't want. If he listens to this, I want him to think.
Well, he carries it well, bro.
He does.
He's a big dude.
He's a big guy. Think of a Viking.
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah.
But I was rolling with him, and I haven't rolled with him for a while. And he went into turtle, and I was thinking, yes, we just been doing all this turtle stuff, right? And so I started to practice technique and execute some of the technique, and I went for the cross collar, grab the ankle, tried to knock him over, but I didn't generate enough force to knock him out of turtle. So I went for a clock choke, and I in my head after this happened, I heard Professor Sean yelling at me, "Don't put your Peter to the mat, Peter, not to the mat," right? And I was like, oh shit, my dick's towards the mat. Dang it, man, that's what happened, right? And so I get my grip, and I'm like, I'm about to get Thor, bro. He wasn't even here for this class. This is about to go down. And I lean forward, pressure that head down, grab the collar, and I start walking my hips north of his head. And then I take the wrong step. And as I take the wrong step, my hips go towards the mat, like I'm facing down towards the mat. And all of Thor's 240 pounds rolls on top of me, straight armed. My hand is still in his collar. So my arm extends out and his shoulder goes like into my ribs behind, like, and rolls on top of me. And I heard, like, it was like a Pitbull song going on in my body. It was like, ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh.
And it was, my ribs popped or something popped on me. And I stopped for a second. Thor didn't stop because I don't think he realized it happened, which is okay. I didn't want him to stop anyways. But in my head, I was like, that hurt. And then next thing in my head was, I can't let him get in mount. And so I just started moving again, because if Thor gets in mount, it is a very difficult thing to get that man off of you.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, oh no, not today.
Yeah. And then another thing is, Cody, Cody doesn't probably listen, but if you are listening to this, I was literally, I'm going to put the video out, but I was like this close to getting Cody with the bow and arrow choke yesterday, man. So close. He went into turtle, and I grabbed his collar, dug him up, got my hooks in, and as he was fighting for my hooks to stop my hooks, got that collar grip, cross collar grip, and then grabbed his leg, and I went to extend, and I started pulling back, and he realized it and instantly grabbed his collar to stop the choke, right? And then we were fighting. It's so funny. This is why, if you guys don't videotape your rolls, you probably should, because John and I used to videotape our rolls, and we've learned a lot about ourselves as practitioners and each other's games from watching our videos afterwards. But one thing that it was in the roll when when I was doing this bow and arrow choke, it felt like a good 5-6 second, maybe even 10 seconds of a fight. Like it was slow mo. Like I saw his fingers in his collar, and I was like, like thinking, like get the hips away, like posture up. I was trying to posture up, and he's like walking his hips away because I didn't grab the bottom leg. I grabbed the top leg. Another thing, Professor Sean always talks about: grab the bottom leg in a bow and arrow. So now I try to do that, but I grabbed his top leg because that's what was closest. Had the cross collar grip. And he starts walking his hips away, and I'm like, I am fighting this dude.
Like 300.
Bro, I'm like, by the end of it, my grips are like taxed. I was like, you know what I mean? And then he got out of it, and then he hit me with a bow and arrow. So I got tapped by a bow and arrow. But in the video, I have the video of it, and Cody and I both like verbally laughed after watching this choke because him and I were like, dude, that was like a good like 10-second fight. It was so fast in the video, you don't even see what happened.
Oh, it's just that quick?
It was like literally like 1 or 2 seconds of a fight.
But it felt like forever.
Bro, it felt like Cody even said, he's like, dude, you sunk that cross collar grip in, and then I bucked, tried to break free, and all it did was just make it tighter.
Ugh.
And he's like, I'm literally about to tap this. I'm about to pass out. And I was like, so close.
So close.
So close. I'm gonna get him. Just wait, you know. And so that was like the highlight of yesterday. And obviously, you know, passing his guard is always nice. I had learned Cody sits down a lot, and if he's listening to this, he's going to hear this. But if you guys roll against Cody once again is our brown belt. If he sits down and puts his feet up, just the best pass I have for that now is just the step around pass. When he goes to like posture up, I grab his feet and then I stick my knee underneath his butt so he can't move, right? And I kind of keep him pushed back, and then I just toss his legs to the side and go. And it works a lot now. That's probably my favorite pass.
I'll have to try that on him.
Yeah. Just watch out because he might bait it now.
Maybe. I always try to, you know, I get that arm in between the leg and grab, and then I bury my shoulder in between the legs, and I grab up by the collar and
smash pass.
That's what I try to do. It doesn't work on him.
I think Sean, when he first showed up, someone was trying to do that smash pass, and he was like, "Don't do that pass. Don't weave your arms."
I tried that on him as well.
Yeah, and he was like, "Don't do that," because there was some reason. He's like, "It's super easy to just counter it." He's like, "Don't weave your arms. If you're going to smash pass, you know, do it this way," or, you know, his pass that he does where he staples the bottom leg down, and he thinks, and he even says it. You'll go into half, or he'll go to pass your guard, and then he'll staple your bottom leg down, like cross his feet, staple the bottom leg down, and you'll think that you're safe, and you'll go into half guard, and then as you try to go into half guard, he just windshield wipers past your guard, and then he's passed. It literally works every single time, and Cody, that was the first time Cody was like, "Holy crap, man, this guy is so freaking good." So we're gonna have him on also, Professor Sean. We'll probably go to his house and record there, or maybe have him come here. He has a super nice podcast room because he's starting a podcast. It's dope. I helped him set up his podcast, like RSS feed and whatnot, but we're gonna have him on, and you guys can hear his philosophy behind everything. Kind of like how we have Professor Al on, and you heard how he likes belt promotions, or, you know, the nice thing about having people on like Professor Sean, Professor Al, Roy Dean, you know, all these people is you get a better understanding of what they look for, even if they're not like our professor.
Yeah, or just their mindset, their philosophy, you know.
Right. Like asking Roy Dean about what he looks for when he promotes someone. Like, obviously it's, you know, technique, but like what else?
Yeah.
You know, so that's always good. So, but we got some people in the background coming up here too. One person we're actually hopefully going to do an in-person podcast with. We're going to roll with them and then do a podcast afterwards. But that's in the works right now. Everyone's so busy, especially because, like we said earlier, things are starting to lighten up. So
yeah, open everything up.
Very true.
Yeah.
I want everything to go back to normal as fast as possible, because then people are gonna like start be like, yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we'll see.
But so, John, you got anything else?
Nah, man, I'm excited for the week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week. We're gonna make this week great. You guys need to make this week great too. But before we go, a little bit of housekeeping things because we're not gonna do an intro to this one. If you guys have listened this far, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
On
Apples. Yeah, I like Fuji apples, a little bit of Granny Smith apples. But on Apple Podcasts, if you give a 5-star review, leave us a comment, and in the review, let us know how we're doing. That really helps us out in being found and other things. So please leave us a 5-star review. The more reviews we get, the more we get recognized and kicked up in the algorithm. Also go to our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on all social medias, Elbows Tight Podcast, and also go check out elbowstight.com for our blogs and any other content that we put out there. It comes out on the website also. So we're trying to push that website and get more traffic on that too. So while you're there, join the email list I'm going to be creating. So, but other than that, I don't have anything. So, John?
No oil checks.
Oh, he said it. Look, guys, he said it.
I did that just for Travis.
All right, guys. Later.
Underneath might not have been the way to go.